Chapter 4. Hot or cold? Let's find out. 1. How can we say whether a substance is hot or cold? 2. How does blowing air on different things make some hot and others cold? 3. Why does blowing air on burning coal makes it burn brighter? 4. Why does glass become cloudy when we blow air on it?
5. How many breaths do we take in a minute? 6. Why does our chest expand?
7. What does a doctor do with his stethoscope? 8. How many times does our heart beat? What is our pulse rate? It's hot. No, it's not. Take 3 bowls. Pour ice cold water in one, tap water in the second, and slightly hot water, not very hot, in the third bowl. Put the 3 bowls in a row in the order warm, normal, and cold. Dip fingers of one hand into the warm water and fingers of the second hand in the cold water. Wait for a minute. Then dip fingers of both the hands into the middle bowl containing normal tap water. You will feel that the fingers that were in the warm water felt that the normal water was cold, and the fingers that were in the ice-cold water felt that the normal water was warm, even though they were both in the same water.
So hotness or coldness of substances depends on the difference in the heat present in the two substances.
Hot and cold with the same breath. The air that we blow from our mouth on our hands is warmer, so it gives heat to the hands and they become warm. The same air, when blown over a glass of hot milk, makes it cooler. This is because air from our mouth is cooler than the air over hot milk. This cool air takes away heat from the hot milk, making it cooler. If we blow air on the cold hands, they become warm. If we blow air on hot milk, it becomes cool. If there are two substances having different amounts of heat, then the hotter substance gives its heat to the substance having less heat, so that the two substances have the same amount of heat. Burning coal burns brighter when we blow air. When we blow air on burning coal, the gases over it move away and fresh air takes its place. Fresh air has more oxygen in it. Oxygen helps in burning, so the coal burns brighter. We breathe all the time. Our body needs oxygen all the time. We breathe through our nose. Our breathing is controlled by the diaphragm. Its up and down movement makes the lungs expand and contract. When the lungs expand, air from the nose goes to the lungs through the windpipe and bronchi. In the lungs, air goes to the alveoli or the air sacs. Every time we breathe in or inhale, we take in air rich in oxygen. Oxygen is taken up by the blood from the alveoli. When the lungs contract, we breathe out or exhale. Extra air in the lungs comes out during this process. The air that we breathe out has less oxygen and more carbon dioxide in it. The oxygen is used by the body to produce energy. Carbon dioxide formed in this process is breathed out. Some amount of water vapor also comes out when we exhale. Air that we breathe out contains water vapor. You can see this by blowing air on a glass. It becomes cloudy as the water vapor condenses into fine water droplets on the cold surface of glass. Organs of breathing. Air rich in oxygen. Air having more carbon dioxide and water vapor. Alveoli, air sacs. Windpipe, bronchus, lungs, diaphragm. Do you know, if the lungs were open, flat, they could cover the size of a tennis court. How many times do we breathe in a minute? To count the number of times we breathe in and breathe out, put a finger below your nose. Every time you breathe out, you feel hot air on your finger. So, start a stopwatch and count the number of times you feel hot air coming out of your nose in a minute.
Number of breaths in a minute differs from person to person. It may be 20 to 30 times in a minute at rest. The breathing rate increases when we exercise. We may count your breaths again after jumping 20 times. Note the difference. Breathing is slower when we sleep.
Our chest expands when we breathe in. Take a measuring tape, blow out as much. Our chest expands when we breathe in. Take a measuring tape, blow out as much air from your lungs as possible. Measure your chest with the help of a measuring tape. Now take in as much air as you can. Again, measure the chest with the measuring tape. Do you find any difference? This difference is due to the air that you have taken in. Have you seen a doctor examining a patient with a stethoscope? Doctors use stethoscope to listen to the sounds in the lungs and find out if there is abnormal sound. They also use it to listen to heartbeats. Counting the pulse rate. Press the wrist of your hand with 2 fingers. You can feel the pulse beating. Count the number of times you feel the pulse beat in a minute using a stopwatch. This is called the pulse rate. Pulse rate of an average person is 72 times per minute. It is around 80 in children. The number of times our heart beats is the same as the pulse rate. Let's revise. 1. Feeling of hotness or coldness depends on the difference in the heat of the two substances. 2. Heat is given by a substance which has more of it to another substance which has less of it. 3. Coal burns brighter when it gets fresh air rich in oxygen. 4. We take around 20 to 30 breaths in a minute. 5. Our chest expands when we breathe in air. 6. The air that we breathe out contains water vapor. 7. A doctor checks if there is any abnormal sound in the lungs or in the heart with a stethoscope. 8. Our heart beats 72 times in a minute. This is measured by counting the pulse rate. Add to your vocabulary. Breathe. Taking in and then giving out air through our nose. Bronchi. Small tube-like organs that take air from the windpipe to the lungs. Alveoli. Small sac-like structure in the lungs from where air goes into the blood. Diaphragm. A muscular flap at the bottom of the lungs that help the lungs to expand and contract. Expand, increase in size. Contract, decrease in size.